So this young woman posted in my BurbNBougie subreddit asking, when is enough enough? She said, hi y'all, I hope it's okay that I post this here. I'm using a throwaway account as my husband knows my main account. I could really use some female insight and advice on my marriage. So she's 26, he's 31. She says, I am married to my husband. We started dating when I was 17, and last September we got married at the courthouse. The reason I'm asking for advice is because I feel like my husband doesn't put any effort into our day-to-day life. For example, I'm a home health nurse and I make more than twice what he makes yearly. However, most of my money goes to my student loans and a bunch of credit card debt that I accumulated in my early 20s. I also pay all of our rent at $1,300. I pay for insulin and expensive prescription food for our elderly dog. I also pay for all the groceries if we ever go out on dates, etc. I do the majority of the cooking and cleaning. And for reference, we both work 40-hour work weeks. About once a month, I work weekends on call from Friday, 5 p.m. to Monday, 9 a.m. My husband does pay the internet and electric bill and will do laundry on the weekends if I'm unavailable. Money is really tight. I'm also tired and exhausted. Today we got an email from our apartment management company saying they're going to increase our rent to $13.70. I asked if he can help put something towards the rent and he said maybe. I broke down, started crying and yelling. Finally, I told him he either needs to step up or I leave. I've calmed down since this morning, but I have just this pit of anxiety in my stomach. I know divorce is costly and expensive, but at the same time, I don't know how I can continue living like this. Has anyone gone through this or something similar? How did you navigate your situation? I know this is a good community, but please be gentle with me. I just feel emotionally raw right now and could use some compassion. Thank you so much for any advice. The fact that she has to say, be gentle with me and have some compassion really speaks to how she knows that some women can be on that mean girl stuff and she's asking for advice. So that's just something to reflect on. When people are vulnerable, when they make these posts, you don't have to be a-holes to them. You can have some grace and compassion as people try to navigate this murkiness. And the fact that she is in her 20s and she's already asking for this help, she's been married for less than a year. At least she's like really trying to rethink this stuff before she's a decade in, 2 decades in. And I love that for her. I hope women clock it and block it quickly instead of just continuing to pour into these relationships that are just not, they're not working. What is this man doing that is just bringing something positive to her life? She is paying all the rent and he pays the electricity bill. Now, just think about this. If she stopped supporting him in his dead weight, she would have more money probably to pay out on her credit card bills because she wouldn't have to be supporting him as far as other things like groceries and doing the work behind, the household stuff, the cooking and cleaning behind him. At this particular point, divorce is imminent because he's not bringing any value to your life. Complex Clue says, listen, if he's not helping you in any way, he's dead weight, and you're better off alone than carrying dead weight. A relationship should be a partnership. If he's not contributing, Complex Clue says, listen, if he's not helping you in any way, he's dead weight, and you're better off alone than carrying dead weight. A relationship should be a partnership. If he doesn't contribute even to rent, leave his freaking butt. My boyfriend is incapable of working, but at least he attempts to cook and clean. He has PTSD from being a veteran, so he has a hard time keeping a job. Like, point is, he needs to contribute something, anything, to help you. If he isn't doing that, you're better off alone. I suggest straight up doing a meeting, explain that rent is important, and while you've let things go, because rent increased and he too benefits from having a roof over his head, that he needs to every month chip in something to rent. Failure to do so would mean divorce papers. Rent should ideally be split 50-50 with exceptions made only. in cases of severe disability. You make this expectation clear, and the first time he doesn't do it or renege on the deal, get eviction and divorce paper. No effing around. You can leave them unsigned and state either I rent or sign here. I'm sorry, state either rent or sign here. Sorry. The OP says, I think for me, part of the reason for my hesitation is that one, I've never gone through a divorce before. A lot of us have not. Two, I don't have any money for a divorce. And three, I'll feel like such a failure for wanting a divorce after only a year of marriage. My family loves him too. And I feel like that adds another layer of guilt, if that makes any sense. And then I said, please don't feel like a failure. Divorce isn't a source of shame. Nothing bad will happen to you. Just think if this is really the life you can see yourself as an elderly woman. If not, cut the dead weight. Figure out a game plan to untangle finances. Complex Clue says, grow a pair of girly balls. You'll be happier that way. One, depending on the state that you're in, you could easily get a no-fault quickie divorce for about $100 to $200. Some lawyers have a special for these types of easy divorces. The exceptions are if you have no kids, no real assets, so it can be as simple as 1 to 2 court trips and boom, you're a free bird. If you have no money to do it immediately, you can go separation first, then divorce. This will require you to get independent, so I recommend start squirreling away money now when you can. Number two, 1 year. If you're not happy now, how much more of your life do you want to spend in potential misery? Sometimes it takes women decades of their lives to come to the conclusion they're not happy and need a change. Well, I'm not saying all men are good. I'm not saying all men are good. There are good men out there. Life is too short to tie yourself to one man. Number three, who cares what your family thinks? They're not coming home to your husband or dealing with him 24/7. You are. If I lived life by how I feared my family's disapproval, I'd be in the UAE in a kneecap, getting my butt beat by my stepfather's abusive cousin. You should live life for yourself, not out of fear of what others may think of you. It's not their life, it's yours. If they love him so much, let your family take him in because it's clear he's not a partner, he's a baby. Don't take this as mean or rude, but listen, life is too short. You deserve better. It's up to you to take my advice. My disabled CPTSD boyfriend attempts to try to be a better man. One time when I got really sick, he attempted to go out and shovel snow so we didn't have to suffer financially. I never asked or expected because of his CPTSD, but at least he tries and sometimes succeeds. A man worth his salt would at least let his so-called suffering financially. A man worth his salt wouldn't let his significant other, suffer financially without at least attempting to help. I'm not saying a man should deliver the world on a silver platter, but they need to attempt to carry their own weight in the relationship. Exactly. No, we're not doing this anymore. We're not just sticking and staying in terrible relationships simply for optics' sake. The OP says, thanks for this. I have no idea divorces could be quick or cheap. I've known people who've gotten divorced, but to be frank, they had kids and assets. Thank God we don't have children. God bless the invention of an IUD. And you're right, I shouldn't live my life based on what my family thinks. So thank you, friend. And then Fawcett asked some questions. What exactly does your husband do to make your life easier? It's obvious how you make his life easier financially and by shouldering the mental load on your own. Paying the internet and electric bill is not enough. If he really cares about you and your marriage, your husband should be jumping at the opportunity to help cover your shared costs, not saying maybe he can help with the rent increase. He should be looking for a part-time job on top of his full-time job to help with living expenses if necessary. This guy sounds like a terrible roommate and a worse husband. Situations like this do not get better and are only harder to leave as time passes and if you decide to have children. Get out now while you're young and still can. If you can work extra hours, do as much as you can and keep that money for yourself to put towards a retainer for a divorce lawyer. There's no shame in divorce, and it sounds preferable to this dude weighing you down for the rest of your life. You are still young, and if for some reason, if you ever want to partner with a man again, there will be plenty to choose from. Most won't be adequate, but that's life. Then she says, good luck. You guys join the conversation. Please have some grace. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.